I'm coming to you today, this video, from the Lincoln Memorial Gardens and Nature Center on the north side of Springfield on East Lakeshore Drive. The Nature Center has 100 acres set up pretty much like Illinois' prairie was in Abraham Lincoln's day. So it's a little bit wild, but still manicured and well taken care of. There's 6 miles or over 6 miles of trails, a visitor center, just lots of interesting things. And if you ever have time and just want a day out to get around and enjoy yourself, this is a good place to spend a few hours. The gardens are open every day from sunrise to sunset. But the visitor center and gift shop is only open Tuesday through Sunday. What a beautiful, restful place to spend a lazy afternoon in the summer. Well, for quite a while now, I've been showing up on Wednesdays and sharing with you and trying to be somewhat inspirational, somewhat challenging, trying to make us think. And today is no different. This is the third time, but I want to address the topic of logical fallacies. That is, those sneaky little ways that people try to manipulate us to do or to say or to act like they want us to, not like we think we should. And the logical fallacies trip us up in such a way that we don't think through them carefully, maybe until it's too late, sometime later. The first fallacy I want to address this week is called the red herring. Now, I have no idea where that title came from or what it refers to. I've read a bunch, probably half a dozen different stories that gave different backgrounds on the red herring. But my first and favorite one I read speaks about back in the old days in England where they'd take dogs and go on fox hunts. And the gentlemen would be with, on their big horses, their big steeds, the foxhounds would be turned loose and they would be smelling and chasing and barking after the fox. And the horses and the riders and the guns came up afterward. And ever so often, if somebody wanted to give that fox a fighting chance, and they knew what was happening, some local person would take some smelly herring fish and rub it, swish it back and forth over the trail where the fox came. And when the foxhounds came, the smell of the red herrings, salty smell, fishy smell, wiped out the fox smell, and they couldn't find the fox. I have, like I said, I have no idea if that's true. But I do know that I have been in conversations before, and you probably have, where the person that was monopolizing the conversation was just going cuckoo. I mean, they were getting more and more extreme and more built up and monopolizing everything, and you couldn't get a word in, you couldn't disagree with them, and they were just going on like a long diatribe, and you thought to yourself, can't somebody come in here and change the subject, change the conversation? Now, that's a positive way to use a red herring, but in a more sinister type of way, politicians do it all the time. You'll see some news item flash up. Oh my goodness, there is a deer. I wonder if I can catch her. Do you see her? Right there. Hi, girl. Are you going to run from me? She doesn't look too afraid, does she? Sometimes there will be a news item that monopolizes the news and goes for quite a while, but that news item might not draw a pretty picture of a politician or someone that has some power. And you might notice that within the next short time, within a week or two, that news item has been virtually forgotten by the American people. That story that used to be front page news is now buried somewhere because some other story has come up in its place. That's a red herring. I just realized that I offered us a marvelous natural example of a red herring. While I'm talking about red herrings, I was talking about a red herring, and this doe walked past, and I forgot everything I was talking about. I had to go get a picture of the deer. That's a red herring. The second one I'm talking about I want to talk about today, is a straw person. A straw person happens when you're in a debate or a discussion about a subject that you don't think you're going to win, that's the argument against you is very tight, and you feel kind of overwhelmed with it, and so you decide to find a cheating way to win, which is what pretty much all of these logical fallacies are. So what you do is you take the argument and you twist it just a little bit. Maybe the facts a little bit, the subject a little bit, something just a little bit that weakens the argument, makes it palatable, easy to knock down, and then you regurgitate your version of that argument for in place of the original one so that you can win. Without stepping on toes, sometimes if it's one group of people against another group of people, and one person gives an answer, a response that's not taken real well from the others, they can twist that. It's not fair, but it works, and you need to be on guard. There have been times that I've been with people and I've tried to say something very clearly, and I would hear them say, yeah, this is what happened, and I would pull them aside and I'd say, no, listen to me. Read my lips. Listen to me. This is the way it is. And they'd turn around and they would just start with their straw person all over again. And I'd pull them back and I'd say, okay, here's the problem. It's not that. This is the problem. And then they'd go right back to the straw person, not even realizing they were doing it because it had been so habitual for them that they could not hear what I was trying to say. They only heard what they thought I was saying between the lines. Let me get to my last fallacy of the day, number 3 for today. This is a fallacy that I would just about bet that many of you, if not most of you, have had this ingrained in you since you were a little bitty kid. Your parents have probably told you this 100 times. That doesn't mean that you've internalized it for yourself. And here's what your parents probably say: 2 wrongs don't make a right. Have you ever heard that before? And yet, the fallacy is that sometimes we operate as if 2 wrongs do make a right. I mean, we might do it in something small, like speed limit. If you go 55, the other cars are going to beat you. So you think, I'll speed up. But sometimes they go a little faster than the 59 and a half, 62, 64, 65. They're going over the speed limit by 5, 10 miles per hour. And you still think, well, first of all, everybody else is doing it. Second of all, likelihood cops are going to catch somebody else and not me. Now, your conscience starts to get to you a little more when you get into a construction zone and there are workers there and there's a sign that says slow down, the penalty, the fines go up, the risk to those that are working goes up, and yet sometimes cars don't slow down, and sometimes they come right up on your bumper and they're trying to push you, and you think maybe a little faster. I don't know how you respond to that. But then there are other times, and I'll just speak for myself now. I get on social media and something happens that brings Christianity into the spotlight. I am a Christian. And everybody starts, or it seems like everybody starts jumping on Christians. How bad Christians are, how this is just like Christians. Christians need to grow up. Christians need to wisen up. And sometimes I even hear it within the church. There'll be people that are from different churches that have a different theological perspective, and they will be attacking the church. And sometimes conservative Christians attack progressive Christians attack conservative Christians. And I sit and I watch it, and it bothers me. And sometimes I think, I want to jump into the fray and shoot off my 2 bits and tell them what I think about this. And I want to put those people down and win this argument. And then I think, what do I win if I do that? Now, sometimes I do. If I ask myself, what do I win if I do that? And there is a big win, like somebody has been shaken in their faith and there's a chance that you can strengthen it, then I'll jump in. But more often than not, I think jumping into the fray just damages my witness, and 2 wrongs don't make a right. Show my faith by the way I speak nicely of those that speak poorly of me and my kind. Thank you for joining me today here at the Lincoln Memorial Garden in Springfield, Illinois. If you ever have a chance and want to get away for a little bit, give this a try. It's a pleasant spot. Now, you know what I'm going to say. It's the middle of another week. We're only a few days away from Sunday where we get to worship each other once again. May God watch over you and take care of you and give you wisdom, for He's the source of wisdom.